In March 2025, a chilling chapter in the death penalty saga unfolded as notorious killers, some with decades of darkness behind them, faced their final moments on death row. On March 18th, 2025, Jessie D Hoffman Jr. rose from his prison cell for one last time, his movement mechanical and resigned, not of a man fighting fate, but one who had already surrendered to it. In a matter of hours, the former kidnapper and murderer would be executed at Louisiana State Penitentiary, watched by the family of the woman whose life he had violently extinguished nearly 3 decades earlier. For over 28 years, Hoffman had lived in the shadow of his crimes. On November 26, 1996, at just 18 years old, he kidnapped 28-year-old Mary Elliott, an advertising executive from downtown New Orleans. The city streets that day offered no sanctuary as he forced her to withdraw money from an ATM before driving her to a remote area in St. Tammany Parish. There, in the isolation of rural Louisiana, he assaulted her and ended her life, discarding her future with callous indifference. By early afternoon on execution day, the prison's routines shifted subtly around Hoffman. While most condemned men spend their final hours with family, Hoffman sat alone. No visitors came to say goodbye. No tearful embraces marked his final day. The man who had taken so much from others now found himself with nothing and no one as his own life drew to a close. Under Louisiana law, he had the right to a special last meal, that final comfort afforded to the condemned. Hoffman declined, refusing even this small mercy. Perhaps food held no appeal for a man counting minutes rather than calories, or perhaps this was his first act of atonement, denying himself what he had denied his victim, a future of simple pleasures. The clock moved forward, indifferent and unburdened. At precisely 6:12 p.m, Jessie Hoffman was escorted into the execution chamber, flanked by guards. His steps were steady as he entered the small room where death by nitrogen hypoxia awaited him. Louisiana had adopted this controversial method just months before, making Hoffman only the second person in American history to face it. There was no ceremony, no hesitation. The execution team moved with silent efficiency, securing him to the gurney, attaching monitors to track his vital signs, a strange courtesy for a man about to die. A clear mask was placed over his face, connected to tanks that stood nearby like silent sentinels. The warden spoke. "Mr. Hoffman, do you have any last words?" Silence. No plea, no apology, no defiance. He did not turn his head, did not lift his eyes. He simply lay there, unmoving, as if the question had never been asked. Prison officials later told reporters he did not even look at them or acknowledge them. From the moment he entered the chamber to the moment the gas began flowing, Hoffman never uttered a single word. After a signal from the warden, the execution team activated the system. Nitrogen began flowing into Hoffman's mask, displacing the oxygen, creating a painless asphyxiation, at least in theory. The reality proved different. For 19 long minutes, witnesses watched as Hoffman's body betrayed him. First came the convulsive movements, his body fighting desperately for oxygen his brain didn't know was missing. His chest heaved, his fingers curled. His body arched against the restraints in an involuntary dance of death. A state official would later acknowledge that Hoffman experienced pain similar to Kenneth Eugene Smith, the first person executed by this method. The clinical language couldn't mask the disturbing reality of what witnesses observed. Death that was neither swift nor seemingly painless. At exactly 6:50 p.m, Jessie D Hoffman Jr. was pronounced dead. The execution of Jessie Hoffman had been carried out under the laws of the state of Louisiana. Hoffman had never testified, never explained why he stole Mary Elliott from her life, her family, her future. He took that answer with him, leaving behind only devastation and silence. Was this the random cruelty of a troubled teenager, or was there a deeper darkness behind his actions? We may never know. What remains certain is that on a spring evening in 2025, nearly 3 decades after his crimes, Jessie Hoffman's life ended, much as it had proceeded since his capture. Without explanation, without connection, and ultimately without meaning beyond the terrible act that defined him. Thank you for watching. Make sure to subscribe so you don't miss out. In our next episode, we dive into the chilling final day of Wendell Arden Grissom, a man who feared his last moments more than the lives he so mercilessly ended. A story that will leave you questioning the true cost of justice. Stay tuned.